Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Design 248, Web Design 2, Week 1. All right, so the things we're going to cover tonight: who am I, introduction to the class, and we're going to start the basics of HTML5 and CSS. But first, like I said, who am I? Mike Brooks, fire performer, web design, graphic artist, animation, and I have another project I'm working on soon, so yeah, I keep busy. Eat, breathe, spin, fire. That takes a lot of fun time in the evenings. Now, as you can see, this class, a little introduction on it. This is programming. If it helps, I've been programming since the Commodore VIC-20 came out, since just before that, with what actually was known as the TI-99 4A. I went to the Commodore VIC-20, then the Commodore 64. Never did touch the 128. And really got into programming in about 84, I think. About 87 is when I really started it with Pascal 1. So, like I said, I've been programming for a long time. Now, how does that tie into web design? Well, I've been building web pages since 96 approximately. So, I've got a lot of background on this. If it helps, I've got my associates and bachelor's in graphic arts, graduated in 2006 with my associates, 2009 my bachelor's. Actually before that, about 2009. No, 2011, there we go. 2011 with my bachelor's in art graphic arts, and then my MBA 2 years ago. So you'll see I start talking about it a lot when it comes to the business side of graphic arts as well, and web design. Live in Boise, Idaho with my wife. We've been married now 4 years. 2 of our 4 kids. We have a 24-year-old who has a 2-year-old son, so I have a grandson. A 21-year-old, he's a Marine, stationed in North Carolina. A 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. So I'm always busy. And then as you can see, this is Macy. This is our class mascot. She's also my companion animal from the VA. So you might hear her every once in a while in the background, but usually she's pretty quiet. All right, software for this class. Adobe CC 2018. If you do not have it, I need to know as soon as possible. So please check. One way to do this, for example, we're going to be using Dreamweaver. Well, one, you can look right here. This doesn't really tell you, as you can tell. But if you're on a Mac, all you have to go is Applications, and it tells you right here, 2018, which version you're on. Then if it's loaded, you can go up here, Dreamweaver, About Dreamweaver, 18.2. Now, the build may be different, and especially if you're on your PC. All right, that being said, if you do not have 2018, I need to know as soon as possible because there's some stuff we're going to be doing that you're going to need 2018. All right, and just remember, if you have any questions, contact me. Which, talking about that, now we come to the information how to contact me about the instructor. And if you want, there's a little more of my information. I'm Mike Brooks or Loki. Michael.Brooks@independence.edu. Telephones 208-901-9092. And Skype, michael.brooks.boise. Now, I will tell you, calling or texting are the quickest ways. Texting, you can even usually get an answer back quicker than calling. And the reason is, if I'm in a meeting or with someone, I won't be able to answer it, but I might be able to text. So just a little bit. Now, just if you do call me or text me, leave a message. Tell me what class you're in. I've got 3 different classes this mod. So please tell me which class you're in. And your name. Those are the things that, yeah, if I don't get a message or you don't leave that information, the way I look at it is if it's not important enough for you to leave your name and number, it's not important enough to call you back. That's the way I view it with anybody. If they call and don't leave any message, I never call them back. So, and it's part of the professional thing too, is start learning to leave that information. All right, that being said, now, what are we here for? Well, week 1, our learning objectives for this course are: discuss considerations when designing a good user interface for responsive layouts, understand and use Dreamweaver's workspace, utilize a wireframe and mockup to create a good UX and UI over multiple devices, understand and apply basic HTML syntax, understand and apply basic CSS syntax, create HTML pages, and link with hyperlinks. Right, so the discussion for this week. Discuss considerations when designing a good UI or user interface for responsive layouts. We're going to be using UI and UX quite a bit. User interface, any way that the user interacts with the program, for example, or the website in this case. The mouse, keyboard, a finger tap on the smartphones, any way they interact. So the buttons, so anything that they're using to interact there. That's the user interface. UX is the user experience. How do they feel when they walk away from your page? Not good, happy feelings about all the info, but do they feel like it was a good enough page, they were able to go through it with no issues, not get stuck looking at something, not knowing why, stuff like that. The UX goes a little bit less than the depth of the information. It's, like I said, user experience. How do they feel when they leave your page? I'm sure most of you have experienced surfing the web on a smartphone to find miniaturized version of the full website that you can't read without pinching to zoom in on the content, or even worse, the full-size version where you can see the content but have to scroll not only up and down but side to side. Probably the most important thing a designer can do to make sure you are creating a good user interface, the UI, is to follow some simple, important steps in web design that have been tried true, even before you could view a website on a phone. Here's a short video on those 5 design tips. Prompt. Do some research on what things should be considered when laying out a website for a mobile device. List at least 3 considerations when they are, what they are, and why they should be considered in relation to a good UI. Be sure to follow the instructions above to receive the most possible points for this discussion. For your citation, you might use articles that show examples of good UI. You can also find articles from experts that suggest what good user interface and for responsive layout should be. All right, This is a 200 level class, so you only need one reference and 150 words for your initial post. Those don't count the reference. Now, your reference no longer has to be an APA formatted reference. As you can see, mine is because, well, it's still the old format. You can just put the link there if you want under references, okay? Here we go. The assignment. Define site and framing navigation. Learning objectives. Understand and use Dreamweaver's workspace. Utilize a wireframe and mock-up to create a good UX and UI over multiple devices. Understand and apply basic HTML syntax. Understand and apply basic CSS syntax. To help you get started with coding your first website using Dreamweaver, there are a few things that can help to make the connection between the code behind the scenes that the browsers read in order to display what we see when we call up a page, website on the internet. The main thing to remember, let code be your friend. All it is a language, and it's actually written in English no matter what country you live in. So you go over to China or Russia or any other country, it's still in English. It is the basic across the board. This is what everybody uses. This is a language that is actually written in English no matter what country you live in or if you speak English or another language. So let's dissect a bit. To display a web page, your internet browser reads and interprets a special set of features that allow you to build web pages based on the latest web standards. To see how HTML and CSS work together to make a web page, please read this article. Okay, so step 1. Notice part 1, part 2. There's 2 parts to this week. Part 1, define your site. Download these assignment files from the instructions below on how to extract, set up your files correctly. If you don't define your site correctly, doing the next 3 weeks of assignments will cause errors and will make it difficult for your instructor or learning coach to troubleshoot your files. All right, so where do we get those files? Come down here. Where are they at? Okay, it's no longer there. Let's see if it's here. It has moved. Course media required. Let's see. It's the media. Defining your site. Okay, the link is no longer here. That's interesting. I will get you the folders. I'll send them out to everybody. I'll send the zipped ones. Because they were here earlier. I downloaded them. So like I said, I'm going to zip those and send them to you. All right. Right, well, there's the second one. That's it right there. It was up here where it was talking about it, so I don't know what happened to it. All right, so we're going to download these files. And what I've been doing, as you can see here, MOD8. Go in, Design 248, working files. That's where I'm going to be doing my actual work. Right here is where I'm putting those zipped files. So to do this, what we're going to do, let's go back to the site. They're downloaded. So let's open them. And as you can see, there's 4 folders. Lawn care wireframe, the images, the mock-ups, and then the site itself. So we're going to take those and we're going to put them here. Now, this lawn care site itself, what I'm going to do is we're going to copy that folder. So let's copy it, go to the working files right here. That way, and paste. Now I can work on all these files right here. But if something happens, I have the originals right there. So to keep myself organized, I'm going to rename this to original files for site. All right, so there we have it. My working files are all right there, okay? So I've downloaded those. So you've seen the second place where they were. Okay, so now that I've downloaded those, after downloading the zip documents, unzip them, extract it by double clicking, okay? Move the folder, zip file created out of the downloaded. So I did that, okay? This is a good idea to give this folder a permanent place on your computer. As you saw, I did that. Moving it will cause Dreamweaver to lose the links. So remember that, all right? Inside the folder contains everything you'll need for this all the way through week 4. Sitemap and wireframe for a lawn company, a root folder you'll define in part 1, and a folder with images you'll use in your inside page mockups. So locate the root folder, launch Dreamweaver, complete part 1. Define your site. Okay, so to do that, what we need to do, we bring up Dreamweaver. All right, Dreamweaver, this is a lawn care website. So I'm going to manage that site. All right, lawn care, go into it. What I need to do is well, you know what? We're going to do this from scratch. So I'm going to just delete that and do it from scratch. All right, so you can see every step. So we're going to do a new site. Unnamed, it is lawn care. Now we need to link to those files. Well, let's go back here. Week 1. Well, that's that one. That's my class, so I want the other week 1. Okay, well, let's go to the desktop, to MOD8, 248. All right, remember my working files. So I click on that folder, and that's the folder I choose. Choose this one. You don't go inside and choose any of these yet. So there's that. Advanced settings. Now the default image folder. What that folder does, that folder links to all the images and puts them into one location, into that folder. So I just click on the folder and say choose. Notice it's already in there. I'm in the site. This is the initial site. This is the next level of the images. Choose and save. Now we've set all that up. So I want to say done. And then watch right here. Right now I have all those images, the index, and the styles CSS. let's go back to this folder here. Images, index, styles. So basically, that right there is very similar to this. You'll learn as we go why you do or don't tie text, tie things, and then move them. All right, so the first thing, well, now we have that set up. All right, let's go back. Well, now I've done that. Okay, do the following. Attend or watch. That's what you're doing now. Watch the video on setting up and defining a site. It's what I just went through, but still watch it. How to set up your local version of your site. Again, we just did that. Now we're going to set up the navigation structure and create a menu for the site. All right, so how to do the following items are demonstrated in the live session or covered in various tutorials found in Week 1 course media page. There's some basic structure already in place. You'll be building on this page and adding pages to this same root folder throughout the rest of the mod. So don't move it or throw it away after you have submitted each week's assignments or assessment that has you working in the root folder. Okay, so we're going to open the index HTML on your root folder. Now, when we talk about the root folder, that's what this folder is right here. Come outside of that. That's what that is. The root folder is the main folder that has all your files in it, okay? So we're going to leave that up this time. Now, it says to open your index. So now we open the index, and this is what we see. All right, so let's go back to the directions. All right, change the title tag to read lawn care and landscaping without the quotes. The title tag. All right, so I'm going to show you this. Then I'm going to show you tomorrow night the easier way to do this. And you're going to be able to do one of two ways to do this, okay? So now, lawn care and landscaping, we're going to copy that. Go back over to Dreamweaver. All right, notice where it says tag right here, lawn care and landscaping. It's already there. So I don't need to put it in there, do I? It was done for you. Oh, lawn care and landscaping. Let's go back. Oh, look. Command V. Now it's a little different because the typos are gone. Right? So we save this. But you notice that became white where before there was actually quotations in there. So we're going to put those quotations back. Look what happened, nothing. So let's go back and take them back out. And what that does, we're going to go File, Save All. Okay. Now watch, when I go over here, I'm going to view this page. Lawn care and landscaping. Okay, so let's go back. Look again. Lawn care. Notice that what we put in there was a little bit different, right? Now we're going to save and now watch Google Chrome. See that difference right there now? That's what we just put in there, okay? So what do we want this looking like? Okay, so now attach the provided style CSS style sheet, okay? Now we see right here this. Now how do we attach that? Easy, really easy. There's a couple ways. We're going to use the CSS designer, okay? Our source. The source is that main file, that main CSS stuff, okay? So to attach it, we go plus, attach, browse, go in, and there we have it. We open it. Now, notice, link or import. If we import it, it brings that whole file into here. We don't want to do that because it's going to affect more than just this page. So we say, okay. Now look how that just made a lot of changes because CSS, okay? So we'll get into a little more breakout of what the CSS is. So we'll go back to here, attach that. All right. Style the header, navigation, and logo placement per provided mockup of the home page for all 3 screen sizes with media queries. All right, what that is, we go back to here. And it talks about the sizes. Right now we've got 2, okay? Well, let's go back to our folder. Now, the original files again. All right, so we're going to talk here, the original files. What we have here, we have our wireframes, all right? The wireframes are just black and white versions, grayscale. The site images, this is the mockup, right? Now we want to look at our homepage mockup. That's what we're going to be changing things to look like. So it's in Photoshop. All right, so now that pops up. Don't worry about those links. We don't need those. All right, now we come over here and look. Well, let's bring this up. Now notice this talks about 1024, 768, and 480. So let's go back to here. 1024, 768, and now we're going to add one. Whoops. We're going to add one. To do that, I go here, media. Okay, so it's going to be a minimum width. Okay, let's go back. 480. All right, so we're going to say the minimum is 480. And say OK. Now look. Now I've just added my 480. All right, so now this is the 1024. So we're going to be working 1024, 768, and 480. So to start with, now we're going to go back again to Photoshop. And we're going to look at this. Notice there's a gray background. Now, something that helps is if you do put your colors up here. Okay? Now you'll notice I have a lot of this already set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the color. You'll see C6DDD1. Right? So we come here. That's that one right there. So I'm just going to click it. All right. Now that's going to be the main background. If you look on all those sites, that's the background color of all of them, right? Is the C6DDD1. So to change that, what we're going to do now, this is for all the background, right? So all sources. Now we have the CSS style. There's global. And notice this brings up all of them. These are everything that's in each of those. Now, notice we have the body. Let's put a background. And now we're going to change that to down. Notice it didn't come up. So again, we have to now go to the lawn care. Now click on it, see copied to clipboard. Come back over here, Command V. And see how that puts that up there now? basically that's the background color for everything now. But it's still not right, is it? That was just that section. Notice that's the header. It's not the main or anything. That did not change everything. So to do a background, a solid background, we're going to go back to this and we're going to go Command Z. So we're back. All right. Next, what I want to do, let's go to the 1024 body. Now, what is the body? Let's take a look here. We have our body, our header, div, and it breaks it on down. Now the body covers everything. All right. So now, because I have the body, now we can go to the background color. And that's going to affect everything. Notice this here gray and that white. Now let's go back up. That gray, the white here, because that's a footer. That's a whole different section that we'll get into later. And that's after the body. Notice that? So it's inside the body. Okay. And like I said, we're going to break these down a little more later. How do we know our coding? And I'm going to go over this tomorrow night. Right now, I'm showing you the tools of Dreamweaver. All right. So now I've got it there. Now let's go to the 768. Well, the body, background, V, same thing, and the same with the 480. You actually have to do this, but notice, because the 480 is brand new, it doesn't have any of that stuff. So now, add, whoops, that's the row column. I don't want that. I need the body, right? Well, to add the body, what we do, we come down here, click on the body. That now selects the whole body. As you can see, by doing that, now I add the body, background, but notice it didn't put it there because I didn't select the full body. I selected the body P, okay? So what we're going to do is that one is gone. All right, now let's go back to the body. All right, so the body, now notice nothing's highlighted. I go here, that's the header only. Click on the body, and it's within the body. So now what I want to do is I'm going to select the body. And this is looking a little difficult, but as we go, you're going to start seeing how this flows together. All right, so now watch. Boom. There's still the body P, right? So that's because it's a paragraph. It's marked as a paragraph. So something I like to do to make this easier is when you edit, go back, back, back. I'm just going to hit Command Z. Okay, there's one. All right, now we're all the way back to the point. We're no longer tied in, right? Let's go to the live. And we don't have any of that. So to tie that back in again, we're going to go Sources, attach the existing CSL, Styles, and OK. Now notice those are all there. So if I go All Sources, notice there's a body here. By doing the All Sources instead of the actual styles, now watch the difference. Now that is on all the sites, no matter what. All right. And all I have to do, I need to add, now we're going to go to the styles. Watch this. Add minimum width, whoops, minimum width 480. All right. Now we have this, but because I did it back in the main source of the P, the body, I don't have to change it individually. That's a color. If we go look, that change there, you would do it if it's the same thing across the board. And as you can see here, it is. All right, so no matter what. Now, the next thing we need to look at, now we need to set up the logo and this, right? So to do this, what we're going to do, we're going to come back over here, go to the 1024. Don't go larger, because that, basically anything larger just stretches it out, okay? So we're going to stay at the 1024. And minimum 1024. Notice we have our banner. This is the banner, all right? See, if I delete the banner, see that deleted that section. It only adjusts within here. So I want to go up here. Now look, if I click above everything, all right? This is the header from the beginning to the end. So all this is within the header. So, well, what I'm going to do is a new selector. So there's the body header. Notice, body header. Body header. All right, so now the banner. Oh, that's below. So let's go to the header. But I'm also going to add the style logo. Now that is going to be something on its own. So I'm going to add it above it. All right, see? Row, div, call, image. Okay. So what we're going to do is the width and the height is going to stay auto. Margin, we're not going to touch that yet. Float, we're going to float left. Look what happens when I float left. Everything jumped. All right, so next, this is just an introduction to the tools of using this, okay? We'll get more in depth of explaining it as we go, but not right now, okay? So I'm trying to get you familiar with this setup. Now you'll notice on this setup, I have the developer or the standard. Then I also have Loki. So I've created my own setup because I like to have my search output, my get, and my properties all right here. Okay. Then I have my assets, my library, my files, CSS designer, insert. We'll be using that one later. Snippets. We'll be using that. And this will help you jump around to some of those. Now watch when I do a plus. Insert. This is inserting a section, okay? So we're not going to worry about that right now. So right now we're at the CSS designer, all right? So now I've got that set up. Now watch what happens. All right, margin is anything around the outside. Padding is, well, here's the section of the margin. The padding goes before that. All right, so for example, watch this. Let's go down. You'll see nothing is happening here, right? Now, why did I leave that and intentionally do this? Well, let's go up to the margin. And you have the same thing. So why isn't this working? Well, remember this is the body header, right? Well, that's where the body header comes in. Notice there we have that now. I set that up at 50 pixels tall. All right, so next, now I need to work on this section. Okay, so we have the body, the header, the div, which has all those in it now. Now the div class, what we're going to do, notice body header div. Well, it's a new section, so I now have to add another section, row. All right, by adding the row, now I just go into here. There's the row, okay? So if I took these on the row, come down here, they're already floating left, right? The header, style logo, left. So those are automatically set up already because I brought them up next to each other. So next, what I need to do is go to the smallest section. So we're going to add another one. Okay, style nav. Now watch, as I take those, and go to text, scroll down. List style type, undefined. Images, none. So we're going to, that's fine. Type, instead of none, we're going to actually put none. Notice how I got rid of the bullet points. So next, what we have to do is go to the next level, plus. All right, now, go back to the top. And now they're next to each other, right? So, like I said, tomorrow night, we're going to break this all out. Tonight, I'm showing you a lot of the tools. So this is going to be overflow on information tonight. But it'll start to come together tomorrow night. Because we'll break it down and actually type the code as I explain it. Tonight, I'm showing you the Dreamweaver suite and the toys in it, okay? All right, so now, notice the nav, the row. Okay, the row, and if we go to the nav again, let's go to here. That brings it down. So that's not the right one, right? So it's not that one. Now we go to this one. And watch that. See, now that one put it where we needed it. We go back over to here, see? And then those need to go over further. So how do we do that? Well, now, let's see, I want those at an equal distance. Remember, that's this one, right? So we go down to the A-L-I-U-L. A-L-I-U-L. All right, so now by doing that at the beginning, that breaks that out. Now I want to take this and add a percentage, keeping it further apart. So let's go back to, if I go to here, the style logo, that's too far. Now the header, now watch as I do this. That moves that whole thing, and we don't want that, do we? So, what do we do? Well, let's go to this, to the actual style logo. Now watch when I add this in front of that. See, that puts it in front, right? Notice, we take that out. Now watch at the end. All right, there we have it. So now we want to move those down. Well, all we have to do to line those up down here is now, if I go to, I'm in the style logo, remember we don't want that. So let's go to here. Notice it didn't stay. Why not? It's gone, right? Now notice also that there it is back. Now the problem with doing this is, as I widen the screen, this stays 220 no matter what. It doesn't go proportionately. So to make these stay proportionate, instead of 220%, we're going to go, well, 30%. Look how close that is. Now, because I'm using percent, okay, let's go down a little. All right, there we have that. All right, notice it's a percentage, not a style. All right, because that way this can change. All right, now these, well, let's go to them. They're the A's again. Now with the A's, and notice they stayed that time because I hit enter. If you don't hit enter, that doesn't happen. Now, watch. I just take those down to the middle like that. And that's where they have them. Now make sure to save all related files as you go. All right, so let's go back and look. So now we have that set up, right? That's what we want. So I've got that set up. Now let's go back to the page directions. All right. Check to make sure that the name is named correctly. Header content resembles the PSD mockup. All right, so we have that. So there's part 2. All right. So we'll talk about the submitting them later. All right. So right now, let's go back into here. So we have all this. So if I close it, all right, I just come to here, double click and open it. All right, now the other thing is, I set that up for here. Now we go to here. Notice how they went down. Well, let's go take a look. You know what? I'm going to lower that. In the middle one, this is the tablet size. Notice that they're down below. One other thing is, let's go quickly back and you'll see that they are all underlined, right? So we're going to click on that. Go back to the designer. Styles. And as we come down here, that's that A again. Go to here. Okay, the color, undefined, that's fine. Notice that's kind of a, let's click on the T, there we go. We scroll down. Really? Show set. That means those are the only things that are set up right now, okay? So let's go to the A. Come down. So we scroll down. Text decoration. Underline. Overline. Line through, okay? Let's see, let's go back up here a little. Color, font family, style. If we look at the style, normal, italic, oblique. Oblique, well, that's kind of that. Let's go to normal. Notice how I made it thicker, okay? So that's how you change that part. All right, next, what we do is, now let's go back and look. And they're centered, but notice they're also in green. So, and then this, okay, so we've got it set up for that, right? Let's go back. That's how we have it set up. Now we want to go to this one, right? But, so we click to here, and look, I have all that back. So what I want to do is we're going to click here, the body again, all right? So now we're going to go to 768, the body, and now we're going to center everything like text. And notice that just did that section up there, okay? Right now, when I do this, so we have to add the logo again. So we add the logo, come down, and float. Notice how that took that to there. Well, if I centered everything, I don't need to float this one because everything's now centered except right there, right? So let's go back. All right, so now we're going to click on this part, right? And we're going to add another one. There's that LI. Look up here. Style nav UL LI. Style nav UL LI. Right? So we click on this. We're going to get rid of the dots. So let's come down here to where it says lift style type. You actually have to select none, and there they go. But we want them next to each other again, just like before. So we're going to scoot up to here, and there we go. Now they're next to each other, and the style of text. Font weight, we want bold. Oh, look, that's so much nicer. So why don't I go back to here, font weight, bold. Let's go back up to here. See that? But notice this is down there. So by making it bold, that puts it too far out, right? So now this is where we get to play. So let's go to the header, the row. There we go. But you'll notice these are all based off of this one. So let's go back to that. Oh, there we go. And there we have it. Now we're set back up. In fact, I'm going to take that to 20% just to make it easier. All right. So now we have our 20%. Now make sure to hit enter so it stays. All right. Now with that, so that sets that up. Now let's go back to our 768. Notice nothing's happened there. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, notice it's a 50 margin to begin with, 50 pixels. So we're going to go back to this one, go to here, 50. Notice that shoots it out. But it's supposed to put it below it. Well, guess what? We're on the 1024. And we just did this here. So by doing that, we have messed this up big time. But there we've got that. Now we go back to here. Okay, we'll leave that down to there. So you can play with these different routes to get there. Now let's go back to here. And now we're on the 768. Here. Okay, we've done the float. Now we need to put the space between them. Well, all I have to do now is, if I've got those selected and I click, notice I now have two of the same. So you don't want to do that, because if you get two of the same, they start fighting each other, at least within one of these, when global. Okay? So we're going to delete that. And now let's put the space there. And we'll go to here. And look. Okay, and now we want them over further. So all I have to do is, let's go here. Let's see what happens if I center it. Nothing, because, well, I'm not set up that way. I just centered inside of this. I didn't center inside of that section. All right, so we're going to undo that. And now we're going to go back to the banner. Text, center. All right. Now, these we're just going to move over again, right? So if I went to the UL, that's all of that. All right. So now let's go to here and we add that. See, now it doesn't have the LI. So we go to here, click, and nothing happened. Now, this is what I was talking about. We're going to start conflicting things. Okay. So let's go back to here and right there. Now notice I did that pixels. Let's do this a percentage. Let's go to 30%. Okay, 30% is too much. 20. There we go. 10%. All right. So that sets that up. Come back to here. Oh, now that one's off. Well, let's go back to the 1024. Nothing there. There we go. Now we're going to take this to the percentage then. Percent. Okay, 10% is too much. Well, let's go back here and look at that padding. So that takes it back to 10. 0. All right, so that's not where it's going to work. Let's look at the header, the row, that's that whole thing, the style, and the A. Notice I can now start to take those out. So we're going to delete that. Notice that that's still too far out. All right, so now we go up to here. Well, we'll take that to 10%. All right, file. Remember, save all related files. Go back to there, and there we have it. So we have that one set up, and that one set up now up there, right? So let's look at this one. Now we need that. But first, did you ever notice we have the wrong color here? So what I'm going to do is go back to the global and the header. It's not that. Footer, body, banner, button. What do you think this one's going to be right here? So that I get them all. It is the header. So I come back to the header and we're going to change the color of the text. All right, now that should be that kind of a darker green. So let's go back. The darker green. We're going to copy that. All right, now we're going to go back to the header, text color, and V. Okay, notice it did not change. Okay, the reason is that's the header. That's the whole thing up here. So let's see the banner. That's not going to be it. Then we have our body. If I hit enter there, same thing, still not. Now, there's an easier way to do all this than that. And I'm going to show you that now. All right, so now we're going to go File, go up here, Page Properties, Appearances, Links. Yes, all right, so now our links, we want that darker color. V. Right. Now watch. It didn't change. So now see how that changed it? You adjust it here. Always underline? Well, never underline. Apply. Okay, now notice that was the page setup. So because it's the page setup, I now have that set up for 2 of the 3. And we'll have to start on that other one. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. When I come back, we will go into further on this. But first, before we do that, File, Save All. Always do a Save All. If you say Save, if the Save All related files are, that means you change CSS. Save All basically just saves the changes on the pages. All right? So like I said, we're going to take a 10-minute break, then we'll come back. All right, welcome back from that break. All right, so now the next thing, like we said, we've got set up for the 768 and the 1024. Now we go to the 480, nothing set up. So let's take a look here. Okay, well, the 480 is not bolded, you notice. So we don't need to make it bold, but what we do need, we're going to click here. So we're in the body. Okay, so the body, just like in these others, the body, let's see, let's go to this 768, the body, notice we centered it so that it went center. So that's what we're going to have to do here with the 480 as well. So we click body, add, cancel, excuse me, add the selector, body. There we have it. Text, center. Everything is now centered there. And the thing with this one is, if you go back and look, they just stay like that. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of those, right? So we do the li, add, scroll down, go to the text, scroll down to list style to none. You got rid of those. Now we're going to add some space. If you look at that graphic, they're different. So what we're going to do is we'll click. So now we have the A, all right? So now we add, there's that A, right? So let's go back to the top. The margins. Notice nothing's happening here as we change that. Why? Okay, well, the main thing is, let's delete that. Let's go back to here. And now we'll do it here. See, we went too far down. So there's a point where you don't go far enough, but as you just saw, there's a point where you go too far. And now we'll set that to 5. And then we're going to go tab around to there, 5. And there we go. Now we have that one set up. That's how easy that one was. It is now set up like that, right? So we have the tops. So next what we want to do is we're going to go back to 1024 and set up this section. You'll notice there's no text here. No text here. And none there. But let's go back. Go to here. Look, they have the text. So we're going to make that text work. So to do this, we click here. Notice this is H3. And like I said, we're going to get into actually what each of these means a little later. Okay. And when I start the programming and actually do it physically, it'll break it out a little more so you can understand exactly what each of these is. All right, so now I want to take this down to here so it all basically fits, right? Well, first thing first is we're going to move that down. So let's go to 1024. H3, I have no H3s, right? So we're going to add a selector. Now notice I did this in the banner, okay? So now I move that down. Scroll down. Probably down too far. Let's go up. Perfect, right there. Now, I don't like this white. I'm going to be honest with you, and you'll see why. You could probably already start to see. But now we're going to go to here. All right? So that's about right, but this is right up against it. Now, as we go, then this is right there. So we're going to go back to here first, to the H1. We're going to add that, all right? Now, I need to add some space on the bottom now. And see how that puts it right about the right spot now? So that's set. Now we're going to take this, the button, add some more. Now that button needs to go over, all right? But we're going to do it as a percentage, all right? So the percentage. So let's go 10%. Now I'm going to do the shift and up arrow. And there we have it. But now, like I said, see how hard that is to read because of that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also go back to that H3, to the text, and we're going to grab, well, let's try it. Let's do that one. Okay, so now I've copied that. So we'll come down here to the text, color, Command V. See how much easier that is to view? And we're going to do the same to that one. All right. Now this is a little hard to see. So the outline, when we come down here, notice we have an outline, the border here. All right. The background. Well, let's make the background that same color. Whoops, wrong one. I didn't change to my button. So we're now on the button. All right, notice, now that's hard to read. And that's going to probably be too much. So we'll leave that, but I will take the text, since it's centered already, and we're going to make it bold. And there we have it. See how easy that is? That's nice to read and everything now. But I still don't like that border. Okay. So let's see. Now let's go to, notice, background, border. We have a border. Come down here. There's the background, but it doesn't talk about the color, right? Well, it does. It's right there. So Command V. And there we go. See how easy that is to read now? Now, I probably would take that and put another color on there so it's easier to read. All right, so I've copied that. Let's go back to the background. And there we go. See how easy that is now? That's really nice and clean. All right, so that sets that section up. Next, what we need to do is if we look, let's go back to here. Notice this is the banner. So that's the banner H1, the banner, the banner. Okay, so that whole banner. Let's go to the top. Now, watch as we increase this. Notice how it's increasing it. So it's wider. But It's increasing this. It's not increasing this. So we're going to take that out of there. All right, so let's come back. That puts that right there, right? All right, so now what do we have to do? We're going to take that section and we're going to do a float left. See how that put that up there? Well, now that squished everything. Well, to fix that, what we have to do is take this section. That is now notice it's not listed, so we have to create it. So we're going to add it. That's the dark box. And watch when I do this clear. That puts it down on that next level. But see, this is not 100%. And I messed everything up when I did that, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to here. All right, so I'm going to click on that, the HP banner, width. We're going to go percentage. Notice that shrank that down, right? $100. Okay, and that still does that. But because that's now 100, now we come down here, that section, info box 10. Remember, I deleted that, so now I have to add it again. Okay. Now watch when I do that. Puts it right there. But notice this big area here. Okay. So what do we do to fix that? Well, we're going to click here, click there. And now the height. Notice up here, go to the very top, the banner, the height, 560. Now watch when I go up. See how that's starting to go? But it's not really changing any of this, right? So we'll take that back to 560. Yeah, all right. So that's now set. Okay. So we've got that. Now we're going to go to this next step. And we're going to move it up. Well, first, let's go back up here. Take a look at that banner. Notice I have no spacings. Okay. If I do this, it puts that on top. Right? Well, now we're going to take that section, that's the dark. Notice the 10. Now we're going to add the dark one. Okay. Do the same thing. Enter. So that now puts it down there. Well, let's go back and take a look at what we have on this one. Notice the spacing? It's already intentionally put in there to separate those. But I took it out when I did that. Okay. So we'll add that back in here in a minute. But notice this is now all off. And this, look at that one. Okay, so let's go back to the header. And you're starting to see some of the problems with using this, okay? It's not quite, yeah. it doesn't always flow right, as you can see. Oh, let's take this down like that. Okay, so now we have that one set up again. Now this text. All right. Now you're going to notice I'm not taking and putting spaces here because, honestly, you look at that, it's choppy. There's too much white space. I prefer that without. All right, so what I'm going to do now, let's go to the tan box, to the tan. We want to start at the top, width, 150%. Okay, and we're doing percent, so it shrinks with the page. So we go back to here and see we have a lot to change, but that's later. So next, now what we're going to do is come down here. We've got floating left, so that's fine. So now we go to this section, the dark one. Well, let's go back to the top. Notice we have it clear here. So if I take that off, look, it put it right up there. Because I had the extra spacing up here, that's one of the reasons I hate that extra space. You don't have control, right? As much control. Now we come down here. All right, so we're going to take that one. And just to be sure, we're going to say the minimum width. Width is going to be 50%. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, now 50%. Come down here, float left, it puts it right up there. All right, so now all I have to do is take this button, or actually just click on that one there and watch. So now that's the tan box. So we're going to add one here. Really? What did it do? There we go. All right, so I've got that. And now I'm going to click on here. And I'm going to now add one. There we go. So now, again at the bottom, and that's where this comes in. And there we have that, right? And so now we're going to go to here and do the same thing. Dark. Then we add it. And, oh, that's the same. So I did not click the right spot. There we go. But I want the one above it, right? So now we add it. There's the P for that one. And all right, so there's the 20. And there we have it. Those two look good, except I don't like these buttons again. So what I'm going to do here with this text, now I can do that text a couple ways, right? But let's just click here. So now we need the button. So this, now we're going to add one. Notice the button name. And let's go to text. And we're going to make it black. So that's pound 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And there we have that. And we're going to do the same there. We add it. And the text, Command V. All right, that makes that a lot easier to read. Now the pictures. Well, that puts us onto the pictures, the images. Now notice, if I click here, that's the whole div, right? So main div row. Well, I don't want to go that far back. I want to be down here. These images, but if I click here, watch. Now I'm going to add, since I've clicked there, and we're going to come over here and add it. All right, notice it's called 1/4. So the percentage now, the width, is going to be 25%. Now watch what happened. That brought that over, but it didn't make it 25%, right? Well, that's 25% the whole width page. See, now if I go to here, that's not going to work, so we go back. So now the image, now the image itself, now watch if I add it, now it's the image. So the width, and I'm doing this the hard way, and you're going to see this, 25%. Now that's 25% of that 25%. So to fix that, what we do, we're going to delete this. We're going to take that and 1/4. Yep. 25. We're going to delete it from here. Okay, so it's gone. But now we're going to come to here. We're going to set these as percents. All right, now that's the image, but that's just that image. Okay, so that's something you have to remember about. That's just that image. Now it's 25% of the image size, but not the section. Okay. So as you're seeing, we also have math to worry about here. And so what we're going to do, we're going to put that height and width, okay, to 25%. All right, now let's go back. Okay, that put that up there. That's weird. That's not what we did. Okay, there we have it. All right. Now what we need to do, so we're going to delete this, okay? So we're going to delete it here. Now notice that did not affect that picture. Why? Because we go to here and I changed it here. Okay, reset to original size. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do on these images, all right, so we're going to click here, come down, we're going to add that, all right, so the 1/4, come down here and float. Notice now they float 4, okay? Well, let's go take a look. We need 4 of them, all right? So now, because we have half and half, we're going to take some more out of there. Now, we're going to put the percentage in, okay? Now the percentage comes in here. So we're going to go 50%. Oh, 1, 2, and that's only that one image, see? So that, we're on the right track, but that's not where we're going to get it, okay? Let me come back, Z. All right, so now we have these. We click on our images, and this was doing it right here. See, notice we have this. Come down here. Okay, we floated them. There we go. Now they're floated. That's without them, right? So we float. And now we're going to come up to 50%. Again, see how that did that? It spread those out. That's how you add that, but we don't want that to be 50. Now we go to 25%. Oh, wow, look at that. Now they're all fitting that way. Height, 25%. But notice it didn't work. Okay, because, well, it's still trying to put the picture at the same size. We've got part of it working, but not all of it. Notice that picture is all the way out, and the image is just half behind it, okay? And we're only seeing 25% because that's what's visible. Does that make sense to everybody? So what we're going to do, we're going to delete this one, all right? All right, so now click on this. Now watch if I just add that one. Go back to here. All right, now I want to add that right there. All right, so that's the image itself. Now if I put that on there, 25%. 25%. And look at that. Now I have the pictures the right size. So next we come down here and that, and there are the pictures. So what I did is I set them to 25%, then height and width, then I went and aligned them. Sometimes that alignment order does matter, okay? All right, so let's go take another look. Well, that's that one. All right, so next, now we're going to look at this one. Notice, well, now we're down to half of it. All right, so let's go here. But before we do anything, File, Save All Related Files. All right, now let's scroll down. All right, here's the photo. Again, we're going to click on the photo. All right, let's go to the 768. And notice these are off. Well, how do they have those? They're 50-50 as well. So we're going to click here, come down here, and I'm going to add it. There's the tan. Width, percent, 50. All right, now I click here, and we're going to add that. There we go. And I'm going to click there, add the button, and the text. Well, we're going to go to black again. So pound. And notice it didn't change it. Why not? So we're going to take this out of there, right? That's the button. Now we go in here. We're on the 768, 768. Now the easiest way to do this, right there. Okay, so that button's not working. So we're going to delete it and we're going to add another one. So let's add it. There's the button, text. There we go. For some reason, it just didn't want to do it. All right, now, so we have this. So now we're going to also go back to the tan and float left. Notice that brings this one up here. So now we click on it, down here, and we're going to add it, the dark. Okay, so the tan, all we did was added 50%. All right, and we're going to float left. All right, so that does that. Now we come to this, add the P. All right, there we have that. And we're going to make this easier to see. So now we add another one. The text. Notice that one's white. So, pound. And now that's easier to see. Piece of cake. But the difference now is the photos. Okay, so they're 50% instead. All right, so again, we're going to click on the photo, the image, come back here, width, percent, 50. %. All right, now we're going to scroll down, do the float, and there we have it. See? Now I have all those set up. Okay. All right, so now we're going to save all files again. Save all related. Then I go back and do the save all just to make sure. Right now we want the 480. Let's go take a look at the 480. So we've got up there, the 480. Come over here. Again, there's no text, so we're playing with the text on this one, right? All right, now I click here. Notice this whole thing up here is so wide, so tall. I don't need it that tall. Let's go to the 480, the body. There we go. Scroll up. 5. Clear that. Nope, I want that back. So 5. All right, so there we have it. Now I have this down here. All right, so we're going to come to here. Well, first, let's take a look here at what we have for the header. Nothing. I look at this one. I have a body. No header. Body. No header. So, it's not the header we're adjusting there, is it? It's the body. Let's face it, the body is all of it, right? So we don't want to adjust it right here. There, because that's the header, to the 768, excuse me, 480. Now we're going to add one, the body header. Height. Notice as I'm changing it, not much is happening. Okay, it's bouncing. So that right there shows that that is not the one we need to change, right? So we're going to delete that. All right, so let's go to here. All right, my HP banner, right? So now I'm going to add the banner. The banner, well, look how small that is. We're going to increase its size to the height. Notice, now watch, if I go higher, nothing changes there, right? Until I hit enter. All right, it's 400 height, 500 height. Okay, see how nice that is? Now that fits it, but these don't fit, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this up here and take this button. So we're going to go to here. Now I need the H1. Go to here. I'll watch. All right, now, see that's down there. So I click here. I now need that button. So we'll click here for the button. All right, now the button text. There we go. Now we're going to save all this. File, save all related files, save all. Now watch as I run this, okay? Watch where we're at. All right, so this is the wide one. Notice it's off. All right, so we're going to go down. There's the next one. And look what happened. All right, so let's go back to that one. Well, that should not have changed at all. See? And I lost the button there. So this is one of the issues. And that's why tomorrow I'm going to actually walk through and show you how to do the coding, as well as how we're going to make this our own. This is why I don't like using templates. I really don't. And now I go back and look. Okay, so there's that one. Well, there's the button. So I click that button and I go to 768 and click it again just to make sure. HP banner, pre-banner. There's no HP banner button. See? So it's mixing with the 480. That is an error within the program, okay? So to fix that, what we're going to do, because you notice this is no longer where we put it. We originally put it right there, right? All right, so we go here. That one's set up, except where's my button? That's right there. See, and I can't even get to it because it's behind that. So, as you're seeing, here's some of those errors within the program. There we go. Now I've got to back up there. And these all need to come over here. So let's go back to my 1024. We go down. And I don't have the text. Oh, it's right there. All right. So I now need it to go over. So we go to right here. Okay. And then one, same thing. Oops. Okay, now why didn't the other one stick? Remember, I have to hit enter. Now we'll go back to this one. All right, enter. So now we're going to go File, Save All, Related Files, File, Save All. All right, now watch. Google Chrome. All right, there we have it. Now I have it back. Then we go to here. Notice, now I need to change that all. Because here, like I said, is a great example of when the program decides to reprogram itself. All right, so let's take a look at that next version. Look at that. We had it set up, but we lost it. And then we lost those as well. This is one of those issues that we will be covering how to fix, okay? All right, so I've gone over a lot of Dreamweaver tonight. Now, let's talk about why as we go in here. We're going to talk about actually programming, right? Well, the next one, let's talk about the assessment. Now, most websites have footers that contain information that needs to show on every page of the website. Well, guess what? This has a footer, but until I get all the other things aligned, that footer isn't going to make a difference. All right, so now I've got that one aligned. Those two that should be white. And the pictures here. Well, let's align this again. All right, so this is the H3 on the 768. Guess what? We didn't even touch it. But we want the banner. So look at the height. Don't have a height on it. So let's go 60. Look how small that went. So now we're going to make that banner good again. There we go. And there's the banner. Now, so next, this gets moved down. So let's go down here. That's the H3. Guess what? We don't have an H3, so we're going to add it. Right over here. Right? That's where we want it. And notice I'm not using percentage. That would make this even much easier. Okay. Now this one, so the H1. All right, and now we're going to go down. All right, and then the button, I'm going to add it as well. All right, so there's my button. But again, look at the color. It's going to be hard to see. But we're not going to worry about that now. We've got all this working. But let's go back up here to the H1 or the H3. And we're going to take that up a little bit more. All right, there we go. We come down here. Those are good. The photos. We're on the 768. 1024 photos look good. 768. Let's go back down to 768. tan, 1/4. All right, well, look, 50/50, all right? Down here, and there we have it. There's the 1/4. Right, so we're going to save this. File, save all related files. So I've got 1024, 768. Now you can see how hard that is to see compared to the other color of this one. So consider that, okay, when you're doing yours. Now we come to the 480. Well, let's take a look at the 480. I haven't really messed with the 480, have I? So we're going to save everything at this point. Save all. All right, now 480. Well, we're going to start right here on the main. Okay, so body. And now the main. Okay, that main is that section. But notice the main talks about those pictures there. Well, I don't want that much yet because that's way down there. So we want to go one further. We want to go to the HP banner. Well, I don't have one, so we're going to add one. The HP banner and height. And we're going to make it, well, that's the width. Whoops. The width we're going to make 100%. There we go. The banner. Let's try this again. Notice nothing's happening till I hit enter. Okay. And now you'll see that I've lost that picture now. So let's take a look at that picture again. And notice it's not changing anywhere. Okay, so the width is 100% of 48, right? But it's not cutting it down to there. So we're going to take that down. And notice the picture is not changing. Well, why? Because it's not the picture that's the issue now. So let's go back. Let's do the column. All right. Notice that has all that in it still, right? But let's go to the HP banner. That's this. Now we add it. Oh, it's already there, right? So this picture is not shrinking the way it should be. All right, so we click on the picture. Notice there's nothing here on that picture. That picture is not listed. All right, so we go to the main, the banner. That whole thing's the banner, but it's not listed. So what we need to do is we're going to accept that one for this one for now. All right. Now we're going to go to here. Come on. Now the one thing about this program is you can run out of memory really quick. Okay. So I'm probably hitting that point. All right. So now I do my H1, go down to the bottom. Boop. All right. And there we have it. That one is set up. So we go back to here. And look, I just lost it. That whole picture is now messed up. Again. Let's go to here. It's messed up again. And I'll show why tomorrow. All right. So we've got to start though. Now you're starting to see how to play with this. Tomorrow I'll explain how they work together, all right? All right, so if you have any questions, please let me know. And I look forward to seeing you guys in class, not tomorrow, actually. Thursday night's our next class. If you have any questions before then, let me know, please. And like I said, we will go into this and we'll be able to finish the whole thing Thursday. All right, so thank you. Have a nice evening, and I look forward to seeing what you guys present.